What is cracking, guys? JP here again, bringing you another update of my 90-gallon reef tank build. So as you are looking right now, I got my blue-green Chromis in my 10-gallon quarantine system. I got 7 of them and I got it at my local fish store. They're only 5 minutes away and I always like to support my local fish store so they can keep some livestock for me and such. And they're always pretty nice, and in case of emergency, support your local pet store. Alright, so I got them in, got them acclimated. That took about 3 hours, and I will explain why in this video later, why it took 3 hours for me to acclimate. And look at that, they're all very happy. They've been in this aquarium for a good 30 minutes and they're already exploring the place, and no fidgeting. They're very tiny too. They're about a good half an inch. These are probably the most tiniest blue-green chromis I ever gotten, but they're enough that they can eat brine or frozen brine shrimp. All right, so there is a couple of ways you can order or buy your fish. First is go to your local pet store and buy them there, or order from them and wait for a week and get it when they arrive. Another option is you can order it online, but there is some risk because they have to ship it for 24 hours, and the fish could die. Another option is you can get them at your local hobbyist. They already, they want to get rid of like a fish, or the fish is getting too big. So definitely I would go for local first. Since I got it locally, I didn't have to worry about ammonia in the bag or temperature swing, since my local pet store was only 5 minutes away. First thing is I already set up my quarantine. Got a sponge that's already cycled from my 40-gallon, so I don't have to worry about any cycling or ammonia issues. And then make sure the temperature is correct, make sure the salinity is correct. And once you arrive your fish, just float the bag 5-10 minutes and then check salinity with a refractometer. One of those that you can look in the light, to make sure that the water in the fish bag is the same with your quarantine system. Why is that? For fish wise, fish can go from high salinity to low salinity, without any issues. You can just drop them. It's probably best to still acclimate, but you can just drop them and there's no issues. The problem arises when you have a low salinity fish going to high salinity aquarium. That can wreak havoc in their internal organs. It's pretty harsh. So you definitely want to acclimate them very slowly. And that will increase your success on acclimating your fish and having a longer lifespan and all that stuff. You don't want to have any dead fish, Even how cheap they are, they're still pets, so don't kill them. If you got your fish at a delivery and they've been overnight 24 hours, if you know your vendor's salinity, you can definitely just temperature check them and then net the fish out of the water and then drop them in. Why you want to do that is there is ammonia in the water, and once you open that bag, that ammonia will react to oxygen and burn the gills of the fish and burn the eyes and definitely shorten their lifespan. So pick your worst evil, either burn fish or just drop it. So for delivery, you definitely have to know that. For locally, you don't have to worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about is salinity. So what I did is I had to acclimate them. It took 3 hours going from that low to the correct 1.025. So yeah, how I did it is I got a couple things. I got a container. I got my fish bag here. I got one of these acclimation thing. I like about this is pretty old. This is where the bag would go, and this arrows will just push the bag in and will hold that. I know this has been pretty old. It's just old acclimation, but they work. I don't have this thing anymore. It's just a tube. Once you got the bag, get one of your tubes and get a valve to control the drip rate of your water coming in. Make sure you do it slowly. Don't rush this thing. Next thing is, since it will take a long time, depends on how big the salinity swing is, make sure you get an air pump. And I like to just use an RO tubing because the airline tubing, they will curl and float. This will just, you just push it in and it will stay. Especially in here, the RO tubing will actually like kind of go in here and it will not come out. So I always check every 30 minutes how the fish are, if there's any signs of problems, any signs of illness or death. Definitely I'll act on that. But they were all doing fine. They were very calm. There was oxygen in the water, some flow, and slowly dripping. And after 3 hours, I finally got them netted in net. Don't use the water in the bucket already, or the fish bag, because you don't want to, sometimes some viruses, some kind of parasite can go in the water. So definitely don't use the water. Don't mix them with your quarantine. Once you got that, just don't turn on the lights right away. Leave it on for maybe leave it off for 10 minutes and see where the fish are. Just maybe have an ambient light so that they know where they're at. And then after 10 minutes, turn the lights on and see how they react. And they should react very nicely if you have a lot of hiding places like this. They were all happy. This is 30 minutes in and they're already exploring the world. So that's a good sign. Some people, they kind of pre-medicate their quarantine. Like they already dose copper or some kind of medication to just prevent any ick. I don't do that because, especially for these fishes, blue-green chromis, especially at this size, they're half an inch or smaller. They're very sensitive and I don't really want to risk killing them. So I just want to let them settle in the aquarium for a good 1 month or so, fatten them up, feed them a lot of brine shrimp, change a lot of water, and just get them healthy and going. If you have a healthy fish, they can fight diseases and parasites much easier than already unhealthy fish. Why I also don't pre-medicate is copper can reduce appetite for the fish. So if you have a small skinny fish, definitely get them fattened up before doing any medication if you can. Now every situation is different, so it might apply to you or not. So yeah, just see what works for you. See what is the health of the current of your fish you got, and act accordingly. They are pets, so and they're definitely live a long time, and just do your best. Now there will always be incidents and such that you can't control. There's fish out there that's harder to keep or quarantine, so definitely do your research first. Don't just jump in and start getting any fish that you like. Now I have dealt with blue-green chromis in the past as my big 7 chromis in my 90-gallon already, and this is how I quarantine. Just observe them for 1 month, feed them up, fatten them up a lot, change the water a lot, and then see if there's any parasite that will show up. One of my best food I feed initially is frozen brine shrimp. I fed them already about 15 minutes ago and they already ate a bunch. So that's a good sign. If you have a eating fish, they're easier to, get fatten up and get healthy. So definitely try the brine shrimp. If they don't work for brine shrimp, try the red bloodworms. And then once you get them going, you can start feeding them some flakes and other fish food. Frozen fish food seems to be the best. They have the best palate for them. They don't pollute your aquarium so much than any dry food. And yeah, let's get them going. But I'm glad that they all successfully went in the aquarium with no problems. The acclimation went pretty well, although it took 3 hours, but it's worth it for all the fish, right? So yeah. Now since last year, the quarantine, the word quarantine has been going nuts because of the pandemic. Um, but in the fish aquarium hobby, quarantine word has been going on for a long times because for salt water, it's harder to treat parasite in your main display if you have corals because a lot of the medication will kill corals. So quarantining them first helps a lot of that, preventing the parasite or any disease coming in contact with your existing fish. So you don't kill more fish. So yeah, definitely quarantine anything wet before going putting in your aquarium. Even just a simple setup, you know. Now I know everybody can't quarantine, so just do your best, do your research, make your own choice. If you don't quarantine, you'll definitely have risk. Even if you quarantine, there is some parasite out there that's pretty rough, like velvet. They will kill pretty quick. So you'll know you have velvet if the fish dies in like 3 days, or the fish dies with powdery, ick-like stings on their uh, scales. But hey, you save your main display aquarium, right? So yeah, that's worth it. That's already made up your money. Already saved a lot of money. Another thing that helped is when you quarantine your fish or anything. Just make sure you have a sponge going in your main display already so that you can just pull it out and put it in your quarantine system, for an instant cycle. You don't have to worry about any ammonia. And if you don't, once you're done with the quarantine, you can just wash this all out with fresh water and just let them, dry out. And if you use copper, don't you reuse any sponges. Don't put it back in your display tank because that copper will kill your corals. So don't do that. Just make sure you remember which stuff. Definitely take pictures while you're quarantining so you know which stuff have copper in it. So you'll remember which to use. Well, I hope you like my little update here, guys. Definitely, I will keep you guys updated on how these little fishies are doing on my future more blue-green chromis. Hopefully, they'll get fatten up and get healthy soon. They'll look already very happy. And I'll keep you guys updated. And see ya next time. Adios.